Hello dear friends, welcome to Top Scholars. So here we are back with another chapter, that is heredity and evolution. Over here you can see we have the structure of DNA. So friends, heredity is all about how the information is being transferred from one generation to another generation. And we know that the genetic material is nothing but the DNA for most of the organisms. In this chapter, you deal with heredity and then you deal with the evolution. That is, how the life actually evolved on this planet Earth. So let's begin. We will try to revise this chapter using some questions that we have brought for you. Here is the question. The question is an assertion and reason type of question. These kind of questions you surely get in your exam paper towards the end of the section A, in which you are provided with an assertion statement and then there is a reason statement provided. You are supposed to say whether the assertion is true, whether the reason is true, whether this reason correctly justifies assertion statement or not. So let us deal with the statements given to us in this question. The question says, in assertion, the sex of a child in human beings. Okay, so here the topic is sex determination in human beings. That is covered in your chapter, right? So it says that the sex of a child in human beings will be determined by the number of chromosomes he or she inherits from the father. Okay, so here is a piece of information given to you. You need to think upon or ponder upon whether the statement is correct or not. Okay, so you may take a while and pause the video and guess the correct answer for this question. The reason statement says a child who inherits the X chromosome from his father would be a girl. Okay, and while a child who inherits a Y chromosome from the father would be a boy, that is with chromosome combination X and Y. So here friends, just tell me if reason statement is true or not, and then we will extrapolate that information for our assertion statement. Herein it says that if the child is inheriting X chromosome from the father, okay, and from the mother, we know that mother can only contribute X chromosome, right? A mother or a female human being will always contribute the X chromosome to her child. Why is this so? Because human females are homogametic. You might have heard this word. This simply means that the type of gamete that female human produces is of same type. Homo means same. And human males are heterogametic. That means they can produce two types of gametes, and that is X and Y. Okay, now over here we are talking about the allosome or the sex chromosome, not about the autosomes. Alright. So coming back to our question, it says that a child who inherits X chromosome from his father would be a girl. So if a child is getting X chromosome from father and X chromosome from mother, then the chromosome combination will be XX and this will be a female. Okay, this is being said in your reason statement. And then it is said that if a child inherits Y chromosome from the father. Okay, so in this case, Y chromosome is being inherited from the father and the mother is again giving X chromosome. Herein the chromosome combination will be XY, and in this case, the child is supposed to be genetically a human male. Alright, so this is true. This is the condition that is seen in human sex determination. Okay. A female is having XX chromosome combination while a male is having XY chromosome combination. Okay, so that means we have the reason statement which is true. Now come back to this assertion statement. This part, that sex of a child is being determined by the chromosome he or she inherits from the father, this part is true. But over here friends, if you will see, because of this word, because of the number word, this assertion statement becomes incorrect. Okay, why so? Because the number of chromosomes is not determining the sex in human beings. So how is sex actually determined in human beings? Is by the type of chromosome that is inherited from the father to the child. Alright, as we have just seen over here. So our assertion statement is incorrect, but our reason statement is true. So coming back to our solution part over here, you will see that option D is correct because assertion is false but reason is true. Okay, this statement just because of this word becomes incorrect while our reason statement is correct. So friends, such type of questions can make their way in your examination. please remember to attempt such questions of assertion and reason, because since you have already studied your chapter, you have undergone this revision, you have undergone practice questions. So there is a little or minor chances that you will be losing marks in such type of questions, because you are already provided with the informations. You just have to spot if there is some incorrect words or incorrect combination of words used in your question. If you are able to spot that, then you are good to go for this 1 mark that these kind of questions carry. So as we said, A is false but R is true. So herein we have the correctly written sentence, that is, the sex of a child in human beings will be determined by the type of chromosome he or she inherits from the father. Here is the question. The question is MCQ type, that is multiple choice question. You are provided with 4 options over here. Let us have a look on the question. It says that a violet colored flower is crossed with a white colored flower, alright, which led to the progenies in F1 generation having a violet color only. Then what would be the genetic makeup of the progenies? Here are the options provided to you, and this question is holding 1 mark. Now in your examination, they may change this case that is provided to you. They may take a round seed plant is given to you and then it is crossed with a wrinkle seed plant, okay. In such way, they may change the color as well. But over here, the concept behind this question is that we are talking about dominant and recessive traits. So here friends, this question is coming from Mendel's inheritance. Alright, we know that whenever we are trying to study about genes, these genes may come in alternative forms which are called as alleles. Okay, now say for example, I have one allele that is 1 and another allele is 2. First allele, if this is present in my individual plant, then the plant will be tall, and if 2 is present, then the plant will be dwarf. Okay, so that means both of these are giving me the character of height. Okay, but the trait here, first gene is giving me a tallness trait and second gene is giving me a dwarfness trait. All right. So in here, these genes can have alternative forms, that is alleles, and these alleles can be dominant or they can be recessive. Okay. So taking the example of tallness and dwarfness, we have the dominant allele which is represented by capital T, and then we have the recessive allele which is represented by small t. Okay. So if in my progeny of this plant I have T-T combination, then I can say that the plant is tall. And over here, if it is having small t combination, then the plant will be dwarf. Okay. What will be this combination? Try to answer. Alright. Now coming back to the question which says that we have violet colored flower with the allele combination capital V, capital V. Okay, capital V is denoting you that this one is dominant. That means this violet color is given to be as a dominant trait, and this white colored flower is a recessive trait because of this small v, small v. Okay, now you are crossing this with small v, small v. What is the progeny in F1 generation? You know that this one is the P1 generation, okay, parent generation. One will be male and one will be female because we are following the sexual reproduction mode, okay. Now over here, the gamete formation will be like this, and the F1 generation that is being produced is small v and capital V. Now, this combination is what is the question asking you. Here, small v and capital V could be found in option A. Hence, option A should be the correct answer for our question. Now, over here, we have shown the cross, alright. Always when you write gametes, you need to circle that letter, okay. And over here, while you are writing the crosses like this, you need to have P1, F1, and then you are crossing, if you are crossing F1, you need to have F2 generation, alright. Coming back to the solution part of our question, the correct answer is capital V and small v. The allele for violet colored flower is dominant over the allele for white colored flower, as only violet colored flowers appear in the F1 generation, which is heterozygous, that is V, and then we have small v. I hope the concept behind this question is clear to you, because in your previous papers, we do have such questions in which only the case will be changed, but you need to be thorough with the concept of what is dominance and what is recessive. In F1 generation, if the allele is completely dominant, I am using the term completely dominant, then F1 generation tend to show you the phenotype of the dominant parent only. Hence, the term is recessive because the recessive parent's character is being masked. Okay, it is not shown in F1. When will it be shown? Yes, it will be shown in F2 generation. Such question may also come in your paper. So, again I am emphasizing that your fundamentals behind these concepts should be clear. So, over here friends, we have seen how F1 generation was formed. Over here, let us talk about how F2 generation will be formed. Okay. So, if I say this is the F2 generation in which I have selfed my VV and VV. Okay. Here, this is the F1 genotype, right? We have found heterozygous violet flower with the genotype capital V and small v. So, here the gamete formation is being done. We have capital V, small v, capital V, small v. Okay, now if we will see the Punnett square, we will try to fill in these places. Here we will have capital V, here capital V and small v. Then over here we will be having capital V, small v, and over here we will be having small v, small v. Now if you will see, this character will show me the white flower. Okay. And that was the point we were talking, that the recessive character is being expressed in the F2 generation, not in the F1 generation when the allele is completely dominant. Okay. Over here you can also find out the ratio in which you are having your phenotype. That is, this is violet, this is also violet, right? This is also violet, but this is white flower. So, we will have 3 violet is to 1 white flower. This is the phenotypic ratio for Mendel's monohybrid cross. Monohybrid, that means we are only considering one character, that is the flower color. Similarly, if I only consider the plant's height, then this is only the ratio that I'll gain from that cross as well. Okay. Moving ahead, this is the question. The question says, what is heredity or what is evolution? The question is again coming from 1 mark. See, the chapter's name is Heredity and Evolution, and the question is very simple. It is asking you what is heredity and what is evolution. Whenever you are dealing with a chapter, please try to understand the meaning of the words that are written in that chapter's name first. Okay, then we will see what is the other stories in that thing. So, what is heredity? As we have already discussed in the beginning of this session, heredity is transfer of characters from one generation to next generation. That is, from my father's generation to me, from my generation to my kids. Okay, that is the passing of character throughout the generations. Let us see over here the correct answer. When we are talking about the heredity, the transmission of characters from parents to offspring is called as heredity. You might have heard that you are very tall or you are very fair-skinned or dark-skinned, and that is the character which is shown in your family by some other members as well. Say for example, your grandfather might be very tall, so you are having very tall height. That means you have inherited some characters from your grandparents. Similarly, we do inherit many characters from our parents as well. This is all because of heredity. You might have heard that some diseases are hereditary in nature. Say for example, diabetes. If your parents are diabetic, then there are high chances that you will also suffer from that disease. Okay. Hence, you are being told to eat less sugar, to eat less junk food because the disease runs in your family. Okay. So, this is the meaning of heredity. Going ahead with what is evolution. Please understand friends that evolution is a gradual change. It is not like yesterday I am having a sleep and then I am having 2 hands and the day after that I will have 3 hands. Okay, that is not the case which is happening. Millions and millions years ago, a single-celled organism arose and then there were very gradual changes happening over a long period of time which were having a very slow rate, which led to the rising of different kinds of species from that single cellular organism. Okay, this whole journey is referred to as evolution. Let us put this thing into a sentence and then we will have the answer for what is evolution. So, evolution is the gradual change. Please remember to write this gradual word in your answer. In what? In heritable characteristics. Heritable characteristics, again, the characters that were present in our previous generations, that will be seen in the progenies. Okay. So, evolution is the gradual change in the heritable characteristics of biological populations over successive generations which give rise to newer species from the existing ones. Herein, new species are being formed as a result of evolution. Okay. This term is referred to as speciation as well, that you might be already familiar with. Okay. So what is speciation? That can also become a potential question in your exam, and you should know what is the answer to it. So here friends, we have studied what is heredity and what is evolution. The question had option, that means you might attempt this or you might attempt this. You will be gaining your 1 mark properly if you write correct answer of any of these things. Alright. Here is the question for 1 mark. The question says, what do you mean by the term speciation? Just what we have talked right now. Okay. Let us go for the solution part first. Speciation is the process of formation of new species. Okay. Speciation. Species is being formed. Okay. The name itself holds an hint of what is the process. From the existing ones as a result of natural selection, genetic drift, etc. Now here bigger terms are coming into picture. What is natural selection? What is genetic drift? Let us try to understand this speciation using a simple diagram. Okay, this is just a general representation. This diagram is here to make you understand how new species could be formed. Okay, so herein we have the fruit flies, that is the organism Drosophila. Okay, these are the fruit flies, and then what we are doing is, to a certain population of fruit flies, we are giving different kinds of food. Okay, here the food is starch and over here the food is maltose. If you are knowing the chemical nature of these two compounds, they are different. Okay, though they are made up of glucose, but they are different in their structure then. So herein, these group of flies are feeding on starch medium and this group of flies are feeding on maltose medium. If you will see, the phenotype nature of these all fruit flies are same, but we are constantly giving these kind of food to the fruit flies for several generations. Okay, so there are bound to be some changes that is happening in those fruit flies over the generations. Okay, why so? Because these fruit flies are undergoing sexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction always leads to variations in corporation. Okay, that means you are not exactly similar to your parents, right? Why so? Because of the sexual reproduction. There is mixing of gametes, there are mixing of characters. So you are having different characteristics from your parents, but you have inherited their characteristics as well. Okay. So over here you will see the color of the flies is now different. This is different and this one is different. Okay. Now what will happen is, the mating preference will also change for these fruit flies in this example that we have taken. Okay, so these fruit flies will tend to mate among themselves, and then their progenies will also have these characteristics, kind of similar characteristics. And over here, these will also have a different set of characteristics and they will tend to mate with each other only. Okay, so now you will see that these are the different groups that are being formed. Okay. And this is referred to as reproductive isolation for a big term, but let's not go into that. Over here you will see that how we can form different species from the existing one. Okay, just a representation to you. Similarly, what is happening in speciation is that over the period of time, newer species are being formed from the existing ones, and then they are continuing as another species, and then this previous species is continuing as one. Okay, that is the process of speciation. So what is happening over there, friends, is that environmental pressure is exerted on the individuals, and then those individuals are made to adapt if they want to survive in such situation. Okay, so that is the concept of natural selection. We will get back to it in our future video. Now friends, to understand this genetic drift, let's say all of these flies are present and forget about the starch medium and all of those things. So different kinds of population is present, but due to some catastrophic event, what will happen is, these many flies are getting extinguished from the population. They are having a sudden death. Now you will see that only these kind of flies are remaining, and these were the original ones that we have started with. So due to a sudden change, the genetic population is being altered. Okay, this concept is called as genetic drift. Alright, so due to number of things such as natural selection, genetic drift, etc., we have the formation of new species from the existing ones, and that process is called as speciation. I hope the concept is clear to you, as we have taken some example to make you understand what is actually happening. Here is the question for 1 mark. The question says, changes in which tissues are not inheritable. Now over here friends, just consider an example. I know how to ride a bike. I know how to ride a bicycle. Now my brain knows, and I can always do that things very easily. But do you think my offspring who is just born will be able to ride a bicycle? Obviously not. Why so? Because this skill that I have acquired is not inheritable. Because this skill is being gained by the tissues which are having non-inheritable characteristics. Okay. So, the question asks you that only, changes in which tissues are not inheritable. Let us go for the solution. The solution says that changes in the non-reproductive tissues caused by environmental factors are not inheritable. Okay. So, I am learning a new skill, or because of the very much high sunlight that I am getting due to my work things or some other things, my skin is getting tanned, due to which I am gaining a darker complexion. Those things will not be inherited to the future generation, okay, because these changes are happening in the non-reproductive tissues. So, I can form another question as well, changes in which tissues are actually inheritable. Then you will say that changes in reproductive tissues are inheritable. Okay, that means whatever changes are being made when I am forming the gametes, when an individual is forming their gametes, those changes will be inherited to the future generation. Alright. So, answering such simple question will give you 1 mark easily in your paper. Here is the question for 1 mark. The question says, what is the number of autosomes and sex chromosomes in human beings? Over here, we have answered or we have touched this topic in the beginning of our lecture. Autosomes are nothing but those chromosomes which are having functions other than the reproduction. Okay? And sex chromosomes are the chromosomes which are having the function in the determination of sex for an individual. So, in human beings, we have 46 chromosomes. Okay, if I talk about pair, divide it with 2 and you will get 23, right? So, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes in human beings. In this, 22 are the autosomes and only 1 pair is of sex chromosome. Hence, we were saying that if this 1 pair is having XX, then the child will be female, and if this 1 pair is XY, then the child will be male. Alright. So, that is the sex determination from which this question is also coming. So, coming back to the solution part of our question, it says that 22 pairs of chromosomes are autosomes while 1 pair is of sex chromosome in human beings. Now, this is the case for human beings. Please remember that the number of chromosomes is different for different organisms. A tomato might not have the same number of chromosomes as we human beings. Okay. Similarly, other organisms have different number of chromosomes that are present in them. Here is the question asked for 2 marks. The question is coming from, this one is coming from your evolution topic and this one is also coming from the same topic. Genetic drift, we have just talked about it, okay. We understood it with the help of the diagram given to us, considering some changes in it, okay. And then what are fossils? Let us find out. So, fossils are the preserved dead remains of animals and plants buried in sediments. So, what happens is, say for example, we are going back in time 1000 years ago and an animal is dying at one particular time. Now, what happens is that animal is being laid on the ground, and because of the soil formation, because of the winds that are going on, more and more soil deposition is being done on that animal, and eventually the layer on which that organism was lying down is now being buried inside the earth. Okay. So, that is nothing but the fossils that we are seeing. Okay. Now, there are different kinds of these fossils. We can have cast, we can have the bone structure, or we can have teeth structure. You might have heard that we are now discovering the eggs of dinosaurs. Those are all things called as fossils. Okay. So, these fossils are the preserved dead remains of the plants and animals buried in the sediments. Sediments, we are talking about the ground layer. Okay. Now, say for example, friends, this is the earth's surface. Over here, I am finding a fossil, and over here, I am finding a fossil. What can you infer from this? Is this fossil older or is this fossil older? Yes, this fossil will be older because it is buried deep inside. That means it might have died earlier and hence it has gone to such deep depth. Okay, and this fossil is younger as compared to this one. Okay, so here I hope you are very much clear about what are fossils that we are talking about. Going ahead with the genetic drift. A sudden change in the frequency of genes in a small population is called genetic drift. In your textbook, you are talking about some beetles and then elephant is stepping on some kinds of beetles. Okay, that is a random change. An elephant doesn't decide that, okay, I'll step over here and I'll kill these beetles only. Okay, so it is a sudden change, and because of that sudden change, the frequency of genes in that small population is affected very much. Okay, that is called as genetic drift. Now, please understand friends, for genetic drift to have significant effect on the population size should be small, because if I am talking about a very large population, then an elephant stepping on some kind of beetles will not give me very much effect in the frequency of genes of that large population. Okay, so the key word over here is frequency of genes and then this small population. Okay, in those things a sudden change is happening, and this process is called as genetic drift. Here is the question asked for 2 marks. The question says, what are homologous organs? Give examples. What are analogous organs? Give examples. This question is being asked in your previous papers already. They will change some kind of form and you might get such kind of question in your paper. Hence, it is good to know what is homologous and what is analogous organs. Okay. First of all, friends, you need to understand in which of these organs the structure is same and in which of these organs the function is same. Okay. Let us come back to the homologous organs. Let us see over here. Homologous organs are having same structure. Okay. But there are different functions. So, just giving you a trick to remember that homologous have same structure. Just say that our hand, that is these 2 hands that I am having, are homologous. Okay, so the structure is same. I have 4 fingers in both my hands, 1 thumb is there, and the rest of the structure is also same. But the things I can do from my right hand are quite different from the things I can do from my left hand. Okay, I cannot write with my left hand, say for example. So the functions are different but the structure is same. This is just a trick, okay, for you to remember that homologous organs have the same structure but different functions. Okay, we will come back to the examples. Let us go for analogous first. Analogous organs are similar in function but different in anatomical structures. So, just the opposite of homologous organs. If you remember this homologous, then you can easily remember analogous as well. Okay, keep your concept clear for at least one of these things. So, you will not be confused in your exam. Okay. Homologous are having same structure, analogous are having different structure. Homologous are having different functions, analogous are having similar function. Now coming back to the example for homologous organs. Here we have the wings of bird, then 4 limbs of horse, and this is frog. Now the structure of the wings of bird, 4 limbs of horse and frog, but the functions they are serving is quite different, because a frog, how does it walks? It hops, right? The horse is generally running, or it is adapted to quick running things, right? Wings of bird, they are adapted to fly, right? So the functions they are serving is different, but their structure is same. You can also remember these examples and you can correlate it to the homologous organs, okay? Just don't mess it up with the analogous organs examples, okay? So what are the examples for analogous organs? Wings of bats, insects and wings of birds. Now you see, all of these are having wings and all of these are having flight, okay? They can fly. But the wings of bats are anatomically very much different as compared to the wings of insects, the wings of birds. So the wings of bats are the patagium basically. So basically friends, here if you have seen frog's feet, then you will see this webbed structure is present in those things. In frogs, that is present in ducks as well. In bats, what happens is, this 2 fingers, in between these 2 fingers, the webbed structure is being elongated and that is acting as a wing. Okay. So try to zoom in the image of a bat and then you will see the wings are having fingers. Okay. Fingers are present in that thing, patagium is present, which is having the function of flight. Okay. So we can simply say that these organs are serving the same function, that is to fly, but their structure is quite different. Okay. So please remember what are homologous organs, what are analogous organs and their examples, because there is a high chance that this could come in your exam in one form or the other. And if your concept is strong, you are good to go with whatever the question asks you, and for how much marks it is coming, you can easily gain them. Here is the question asked for 2 marks. The question says define gene. So here we are being asked to define gene, and second part is the gene for red eye is recessive to the gene for black eye. Okay, again eye color is the thing and we have different gene. That means these are the alleles. Okay, so you can spot your collectings in your questions when you are reading them for the first time itself, if your fundamentals are clear. Then what would be the color of a child's if she inherits a gene for red color from her father and a gene for black color from her mother? Explain using a flowchart. So here friends, let us first answer to the A part. Gene is the functional segment of DNA that codes for a specific protein. So if I say this is my DNA, okay, double-stranded DNA, and over here this part is the gene, then I am simply stating that this part is the functional segment of DNA. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid, okay, genetic material of most of the organisms, not all, alright. So this segment of the DNA is coding for a specific protein. Then I will say that it is a gene, alright. Going ahead for the second part, in such type of questions friends, try to write down which character or which gene given to you is having dominant nature and which one is having recessive nature, okay. Over here, black eye is dominant, okay, black eye is dominant. So let us say we are representing it with a capital R, and then I have recessive eye color which is red, okay, and I am representing it with the small r. So we are being asked what would be the color of the child if she inherits a gene for red color from her father. That means father is giving the red color eye gene and mother is giving the black color eye gene. Okay, so the correct answer friends, if you can extrapolate this thing into the question that we have just solved for violet color flower and white color flowers, you can easily answer which eye color will the child be having, okay. The child inherits an allele for red color from her father and an allele for black color from her mother, leading to the combination of capital R, small r. Herein, capital R is dominant, small r is recessive. So, which phenotype will be expressed? Yes, the dominant phenotype will be expressed and that is black eye color. So, this will give the child a black eye color. So, coming to the flowchart part, we have been told to explain this example using a flowchart. Over here friends, the parent is having this combination, say for example, and over here this parent is having the red eye color. Okay, this one is black and this one over here is red. Black we have denoted with capital R and red we are denoting with small r, small r. The gametes will be over here, capital R will be produced and over here small r will be produced, okay, and a combination will give you this, okay. So, herein we have capital R and small r and hence we will say that the child is having black eye color. Now, over here friends, in this part we have considered that the parents are homogametic, okay. Say for example, in the parents we are having the heterozygous condition, then the combination will be capital R, small r. This could be also present in one of the parent because this parent is also bound to give you black eye color, right? You are getting what I am saying. Herein, capital R will also give you black eye color and capital R, small r will also give you the black eye color, okay. This is crossed with red eye color. Okay, and then what will be the combination? You should also know that part, okay. So, herein capital R and capital R will give you capital R, this one capital R, small r, and over here again capital R, small r, and over here we have small r and small r. So, in this situation we will say again that 3 combinations are giving us dominant trait, that is 3 black eye color is to 1 red eye color, okay. So, this is the case when we are considering our question with parent having heterozygous condition, okay. Coming back to the question, it just asked you to show the flow chart how the child is having black color. So, doing the things up to F1 generation will be sufficient to give you these 2 marks, okay. 1 mark for this and 1 mark for this. This part is for your understanding purpose, alright. Here is the question asked for 2 marks. The question says, a woman has only daughters. Analyze the situation. Very simple. You have found a family in which there are only daughters. So, why is that so? Why are no males present in that family? Let us analyze this situation. This question is again coming from the sex determination of human beings topic. The solution says human females are homogamatic, okay, as we have just talked in our session earlier, with the combination of chromosome as XX. This is the combination in sex chromosome. We are not talking about the autosomes, okay. So they can only contribute X chromosome to their offspring, okay. When only XX are present, only X can be contributed. That is understandable. Going ahead, let's talk about the human males. Human males are actually determining the sex of the offspring because they are having the sex chromosome combination which is heterogamatic. Okay, that means different kinds of gametes can be produced by human male, and that is X or Y. Okay. So, these are the different kinds of gametes that can be produced by human male, and hence we are saying that they are heterogamatic. Now, obviously, different kinds of gametes are produced, so they can inherit these kind of gametes to their offspring. Okay. So, here friends, as we have just seen, a mother can only provide X gamete, okay, and a father can provide two kinds of gamete, X and Y. So, if this and this combines, then we will have the female, and if this and this combines, we will have the male, okay, with combination XY over here and XX over here. The situation was that the woman was only having daughters. That means, in every reproductive event, in every zygote formation movement, the father has contributed X chromosome to the progeny. Hence, the offsprings are all daughters. They are all genetically females. Okay, that is the situation that is being given to us. Let us read out the third statement. In this situation, the child is getting an X chromosome from the father. Hence, the offsprings are all female. Okay, I can change this question. A woman has only sons. Now analyze the situation. You will again give me these kind of information, and this statement will change as you will be telling me that okay, in this situation the father is always contributing the Y chromosome and hence all the offsprings are male. Okay, again understanding the concept is of utmost importance. Here is the question asked for 2 marks. Over here you can see we are having different kinds of ears. Okay, have you ever seen someone with this kind of ear? That means over here there is no furrow that is being formed, that is completely attached to the face. Okay, over here we say that this ear type is called as attached. Okay, as it is actually attached to the face, and this one is away. Okay, there is a bridge forming, a furrow is forming. So this one is free ear lobe. Okay, this is ear lobe that you might have already known. This is called as ear lobe. So let us come back to question now. A part says to identify the earlobe type in the given image. So that we have already done. Let us go for B part. State the dominant and recessive earlobe types among those given in the image. So friends, just go back to your common sense, use it and tell me how much common is this ear type as compared to this one. Yes, I asked you in the beginning of this question, have you seen someone with this type of ear? Okay, that means this type of earlobe is less common and this type is very much common. If you will just have a look in your class, then you will see that many of them are having free earlobes and only some are having attached earlobes. That means this one is recessive and this one is dominant. Okay, let us have the solution part. Free and attached earlobes are 2 variants found in human population concerning and talking about the earlobes only. Then this one is the attached earlobes, okay, and this one is the free earlobes. This one is going continuous and this one is forming a complete furrow, okay. So this one is free and this one is attached. Going ahead for the second part, free earlobes are dominant over attached earlobes, okay. Attached earlobes are recessive. Now I can form some other cross as well. You just have to keep in mind that free earlobes are dominant and attached earlobes are recessive. Okay, the question might ask you by giving some numbers that okay, there were 100 individuals who were assessed for their earlobes type, and then we found that 90 were having the free earlobe and 10 were having attached earlobe. Now tell us which one is the dominant trait and which one is the recessive trait. Again, the question is being framed in different manner, but the fundamental is again the same. Okay, so please understand this fundamental and you will be good to go with attempting the questions which are asking you this topic. Alright, so this question is coming from inheritable traits topic in your chapter. Here is the question asked for 2 marks. The question says, how does the creation of new species ensures survival? Are these events useful for evolution? So basically over here variation is being asked, and this part is asking you, is this variation useful? The answer is yes, variations are very much useful. So friends, do you know that the first organisms that were arising on this earth were having chemotrophic nature? That means they were not able to use oxygen. Why so? Because in our environment oxygen was not present. It was combined with different things and we were having a reducing environment of this earth. Okay. Then eventually those organisms produced carbon dioxide, oxygen as their metabolic product. Then some reactions were also going on. So free oxygen, molecular oxygen was then present in our environment. Then these already present organisms were not fit to continue living like that only. Hence, there were different kinds of species, different organisms that originated that could use this molecular oxygen and they can have their metabolism process. Then this oxygen also depleted, say for example. Then some more organisms were required who can actually produce oxygen. Okay, so we have photosynthetic organisms like algae or plants which actually produces molecular oxygen as a byproduct of their photosynthesis process. Okay. So the point of discussing all this is that environment keeps on changing, and as per the environment changes, the species tend to adapt to it, and hence there are creation of new species owing to incorporating different kinds of variations, and all of these things are basically the building blocks for the process of evolution. Okay, let us come back to the solution part. The solution says that variation in species help them to adapt to the changing environment over a long period of time. Thus, variation promotes survival. So, let us take an example. There are very much plants in our surrounding. Few years back we are talking, okay. So, trees are at the height of this much and there are many giraffes. Giraffes are herbivores. They are eating those trees. They are eating the leaves of their trees. So a giraffe is coming, the neck is very small, the giraffe is also very small, okay, and he is eating it very easily. But then there are many giraffes present because they are getting their food, they are reproducing very well. So the population has increased, but the trees on this height are now decreasing. Now the leaves are present on this height. So the environment is creating a pressure on that giraffe to survive, okay. To survive, he should reach the leaves that are present at this height. So it is elongating, it is stretching his neck, okay. So now the neck of the giraffe is gaining some length, okay. Say for example, the leaves at this height are also decreasing. Then the leaves of this height are now accessible. So giraffe is again lengthening the neck, okay. So basically because of the environmental changes, the species are undergoing variations in them. Okay, coming back to the solution part, variation in species help them to adapt to the changing environment over a long period of time. Thus, variation promotes survival. Because of this changes only, we are able to survive in our constantly changing environment. Going ahead for the next part of your question, are these events useful for evolution? Yes, these events are indeed useful for evolution because variants formed as a result of environmental changes form the basis of evolution. Alright, so 2 questions asked to you. You are having 2 sentences in your solution and you are good to go for gaining those 2 marks for your paper. Here is the question again for 2 marks. It says, how can we determine how old a fossil is? Okay, this also we have discussed earlier in our session. Let us have the solution part. So there are 2 components of estimation. First one is relative approach and second one is carbon dating. Let us go for the relative approach. Fossils closer to the surface are more recent than the fossils found in the deeper layers. Just as we have talked, if I have this fossil over here and this fossil over here, this one is older, this one is younger, okay, because this has died earlier and this has died recently, okay. So basically the difference in the depth can help us to estimate the relative age or relative time of death of the fossils, okay, or relative death of the organisms and the time that they have become fossils, okay. Going ahead for the second part, second approach is of carbon dating. Over here friends, carbon is a very common element and it is very much useful for living organisms, okay. In my body, if I consider, I have many biomolecules which are made up of carbon. Proteins are having carbon, carbohydrates are also made up of carbon. My DNA is also having carbon atoms. So basically, carbon is a key component for living organisms. Okay, living organisms absorb carbon from the atmosphere, including the radioactive forms like C13. You might have known that we have the normal isotope, that is C12, and we have radioactive isotope, that is C14. There is a ratio in both of these things. This one is very predominant, but there is small proportion of carbon which is having C14 as well. Okay. So, living organisms absorb carbon from the atmosphere, including the radioactive forms like C14. So, what happens is, after the death of the organism stops absorbing the carbon. Okay. So, now whatever carbon is being present in that organism will start to decay. Okay. This C14 is radioactive. That means it will decay on its own. So, after death, the C14 begins to decay at a known rate. We know the rate at which this C14 decay happens, and this is used as an indicator of time when the organism died. Okay. So, with the value of the C14 decay, scientists are able to predict what is the time of death of that organism. Okay. So, these are the two methods to determine how old a fossil is. Here is the question asked for 2 marks. It says, identify the image given below. So, here we have the wild cabbage. Then we have different types arising from it. Okay, kohlrabi, we have kale, red cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. You might have seen all these, right? We have broccoli in our market, in our foods now. Cabbage is present. Red cabbage is also used. We have cauliflower as well. Okay, so these things are very common. The question is to identify the image given to us. Second part, which phenomenon is represented by the image? Okay. So, over here, coming to the solution part, part A is telling you to identify the image, and the image is of evolution of wild cabbage. You will see this is the wild cabbage, and then it is undergoing some evolution to form different kinds of cabbage now. Okay, one is forming cauliflower, then we have the formation of broccoli, cabbage, red cabbage, kale and kohlrabi. Okay, so identification part, the identification is evolution of wild cabbage. Now let us see which phenomenon is given to over here. Now here friends, this evolution is not natural. Okay, human beings have introduced this evolution, hence the term we will be using is artificial evolution. Okay, coming over here. Artificial evolution of wild cabbage is done by humans by employing the selection and propagation of a short petiole. Okay, so basically we are doing some changes in this wild cabbage and we are purposely evolving that particular plant to give us different kinds of plants. Okay, so the concept is of artificial evolution of wild cabbage. Okay, so friends, I will suggest you that you should not opt out on this diagram based question. Complete the diagram, identify the diagram, because again you have studied the chapter, you have undergone the revision, undergone the practice sessions. So, it is highly unlikely that you will lose such easy to grab marks. Alright. So, this question is good to go for 2 marks. Here is the question asked for 3 marks. The question says, are all humans a single species? All humans' origin is in which place? And third one is, trace the path of humans as they spread to different parts of the world. So, this question is coming from the topic of human evolution. So, friends, you might have seen that Americans are significantly different from us, right? They are having different skin tone. Then Africans are also very much different to us. They are mostly having black skin tone. Americans are very much white. We are having brownish skin tone. So, do we constitute of different species, or all the human beings present on the planet are belonging to one species? Okay, that is the question that is being asked. So friends, coming to the solution part, please remember that yes, all humans are a single species called as Homo sapiens. Alright, whether it be an American, an African or an Indian, all are belonging to the species of Homo sapiens. Just that race is different. Okay, Americans are having different race, Africans are having different one, and Indians are having this one, and Indians are having different one. Okay, this is just an example. So, human beings have different races, but the species is same, that is Homo sapiens. Going ahead, all humans' origin is in which place? The origin is found to be only in one place, and that is Africa. Let us write it down over here. All humans' origin is traced back to Africa. Now we are supposed to trace the path of humans as they spread to different parts of the world. So first humans are arising in Africa. Then they have started migrating. So what is the path in which they have migrated? That is the question that is asked to you. The residents spread across Africa. Okay. So not all human beings will be spreading, okay, some will be residing in Africa only. The migrants, okay, slowly spread across the planet. That is from Africa to West Asia, then to Central Asia, Eurasia, South Asia and then East Asia, okay. So this is the sequence of words that you should be remembering if you are to attempt such question, okay. Answering this much will fetch you 3 marks in your paper. Here friends, human evolution is a very small topic. Not much questions have earlier came from this topic. So there is probability that they might ask you 1 mark or 2 mark question from this topic as well. Hence, these are the key points that we need you to remember from this video lecture itself. Okay, try to remember these parts, and if you are lucky, you will get a question from this part as well. So the residents are residing in Africa. Migrants are slowly spreading from Africa to West Asia, then to Central Asia, Eurasia, South Asia and then East Asia. Then they are travelling down to the islands of Indonesia and the Philippines to Australia, and they cross the Bering Land Bridge to the America. Alright. So this is the path of human beings as they spread to different parts of the world. So friends, this question is coming from human evolution topic of your chapter. Questions from this topic are not very much being asked in your previous year papers. So you should remember at least this much information, so as to, if you are lucky, then you can attempt such question in your paper. Alright. So please remember, all human beings are single species, that is Homo sapiens. All humans' origin is traced to Africa, and this is the path in which they have spread to the different parts of the world. Alright. Here is the question asked for 4 marks. Alright. Bigger questions coming from this chapter mostly are from sex determination part and from Mendel's crosses, okay, in previous years. So following the Mendel's cross for F1 generation, F2 generation, knowing how crosses are being going on for sex determination in human beings, all of these things are important from your exam point of view. Okay, let us have a read on the question. The question says a pea plant with round and green seeds. Okay, round and green. That means you are considering the shape as well and you are considering the color as well. 2 traits are being considered, so this becomes a dihybrid cross. Alright, monohybrid only 1 trait, that is height. Alright, so here a pea plant with round green seeds is crossed with pea plant having wrinkled and yellow seeds. Okay, A part says you to show the Mendelian cross to get the F1 generation. Second part, show the Punnett square for the F2 generation. And third part, what would be the phenotype ratio of the dihybrid cross? Okay, phenotypic ratio. Phenotype is basically the things that we can see. You can see that this color is blue, so you will say that this is having blue color. Okay, you don't know about that genotype, just about the phenotype we are talking. So let us come back to the solution part of this question. First is to show the cross for F1 generation. Herein round yellow seeds were present, right, from 1 pea plant, and 1 pea plant we were having of wrinkled green seeds. Round and yellow are dominant traits, while green and wrinkled are the recessive traits. Okay, so we will represent round by capital R and this yellow by capital Y. And over here we will just have the small case letters for this R and Y. So here wrinkled we are showing with small r, and green we are representing by small y. Okay. Now homozygous condition. So capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y. Over here small r, small y, small y. Okay. So friends, if you will see, this capital R, capital Y, capital Y will be having the phenotype of round and yellow seeds, and this part that we have written is the genotype. Okay. Similarly, over here, wrinkled and green are the phenotype, and small r, small y is the genotype. Okay. What is the F1 generation that is being formed? Over here, friends, if you will have a look on the gamete production, RY is the gamete that is being produced, and from this parent, small r, small y is the gamete that is being produced. Okay. So, a combination of this will give you capital R, small y, small y. Okay. Again, maintaining the law of dominance in our mind, you should know that because of this capital R, this seed will be having round shape, and because of this capital Y, the seed will be having yellow color. Okay, but this one is different from this one. Phenotype is same, round and yellow, but the genotype is different. Here we have homozygous condition, and over here we have heterozygous combination. Okay. So now, what kind of gametes will this F1 generation produce? That is the trick for you to attempt the second part of this question. Okay, this much is sufficient for your first part, how the F1 generation is being formed. Okay, here friends, please write P1 for this thing. Okay, this one is parent generation. Then you should show the gamete formation and then you should be showing the F1 generation. Alright. Now coming back to the B part. So friends, this is the Punnett square for F2 generation. Let us first recollect our P1 generation over here so that we will not miss out on anything. P1 generation, we have capital R, capital Y, capital Y. P1 generation had a cross with another parent which was having the combination of small r, small y, small y. Okay. The gamete formation was like this, capital R, capital Y, and over here we have small r, small y. Okay. Then we have the F1 generation which was having this combination. Okay. So this is the cross for you to get 1 mark in the first part of question. Okay, you show P1 generation, you show the gamete formation and then you show the F1 generation. Okay, now we are talking about how the gametes will be formed from this F1 generation. Okay, so first will be this R, capital Y. Okay, this R and this capital Y. Then let's combine this R with this small y. Okay, then we have this small r with capital Y and small r with small y. Okay, so now we have 4 types of gametes that could be formed from the F1 progeny. Okay, hence we said that this progeny is different from this progeny. Okay, even though the phenotype is same. This is also round yellow, this is also round yellow. This is producing only one kind of gamete, hence we have only written it once. Okay, but here we have 4 kinds of gametes that are being produced. So here we have just written that only. Okay, since we are undergoing the selfing of F1 generation, what are we doing? We are crossing this with this only. Okay. Hence, we are having these combinations over here and these combinations over here. Gametes from R, capital R, small r, capital Y, small y parent. Okay. Now over here friends, to fill in the genotypes in your Punnett square, just write these things with utmost care and then you just have to combine. Okay. This and this combined over here, capital R, capital Y, capital Y. Similarly, you combine these things, you will get this combination. Okay. Similarly, you will fill in for the whole of the Punnett square. Now, if you will see friends over here, this one is green and wrinkled. Okay. You can see the structure is wrinkled and the color is green. So, here we have green, wrinkled. Here, because of this capital R, capital Y, similarly friends, even if you are having one capital R, this can be capital R or small r, okay? And you are having one capital Y, this can be small y or capital Y. Then what will be the phenotype? Yes, it will be round and yellow, okay? If you are having this kind of phenotype, then it will be wrinkled and yellow. And now, if you are having this kind, then it will be round and green. Okay. So, these are the 4 types of phenotypes that could be seen. Round yellow, wrinkled yellow, round green and wrinkled green. Okay. So, these are the 4 phenotypes that we can see. Now, over here friends, just try to group down these individuals together. Okay. So, 4 plus 3 plus 2 will give you 9. Okay. 9 are having round and yellow seed. Okay. Then coming back to the round and green seeds, we have 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3 are having round and green seeds. So, let us write down over here. Okay. Then coming back to the yellow but wrinkled seeds. Okay. Then again you will see 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So, we are having again 3 and over here we only have 1 green wrinkled. So, 1. Okay. Hence friends, you can say that this is the phenotypic ratio because we can see the color and we can see the shape of the seed. Alright. So, this is the phenotypic ratio for F2 generation of a dihybrid cross, which is the answer to the last part of the question, that is to write down the phenotypic ratio. Similarly, you can also find out the genotypic ratio, but that doesn't cover the syllabus, hence we will not go into the detail of that. Okay. So, coming back to the part C of your answer, phenotypic ratio is 9:3:3:1. This is green wrinkled, this is yellow round, this is round and yellow and this is wrinkled and yellow. Okay. So, in this session friends, we have discussed many questions with you and we have tried to cover the related topics to that question. I again repeat it to you that sex determination in human beings and the crosses given by Mendel is of utmost importance when you are dealing with this chapter. Also, you should know what is transcription, what is translation, what is the genetic material, so that you are having a fundamental for the understanding of chromosomes that we are talking in this chapter. I hope this session is useful to you, and do watch the whole video and attempt the questions, pause the video and try to answer the questions. This will help you for your upcoming board examination of 10th CBSE. Thank you all for your attention.